This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
He was a giant, and he was a cowboy. Now these two former rivals have joined forces to bring you the most insightful, perceptive, and controversial sports talk podcast in America. Former Dallas Cowboys defensive end Jim Jeffcoat locks horns with former New York Giants wide receiver Byron Williams. And now, here's Byron Williams and Jim Jeffcoat.
Jim.
Good afternoon or evening, Byron.
Good afternoon, good evening, good everything.
Yeah. Let's get on to the
wild card.
Yeah, 500-pound gorilla in the room.
Wild card weekend.
Wild card weekend, and there was some good games.
Absolutely, and some good performances, and
yes,
and teams was ready and teams wasn't ready, and
that's true.
And that's why when we used to go into the playoffs, Jim, this as well as I do. You go in with a mindset of 0-0, starting a new, a clean slate, getting ready to make the run for the Super Bowl. And
yeah,
if you got home field advantage, I feel like you do have a little bit of advantage, but man, I'm telling you, it was some good games this week.
Yeah, and the thing is also you got to pack your defense and you got to pack your running game, and that's not saying that you can't throw the ball because you're going to have to throw it at some point. But those are the two necessities when you're playing the better teams in the league.
Absolutely, and we talked about that all throughout the season, and also that the head coach got to get you ready and prepared for the different changes and things that are going to happen during the game.
Yeah, and everybody, you should know your team well enough to know if they're flat during there. I tell you, the story is when we played the 49ers the second time, Jimmy Johnson, that's why he said what he said about the 49ers, is to get us motivated because he felt that we didn't practice well that week.
Yeah.
He did something to light a fire under us. And that's the thing. He thought we were flat and we weren't playing to our potential. And
that, what I love about Jimmy Johnson, he even did an illustration during the broadcast this weekend. Yes. And he went rapid and say, this is what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. And then Michael Strahan was saying, Coach, you did that unbelievable. And Troy said, that's Jimmy Johnson right there.
Yeah, and that was him.
You got to pull that plug.
But everybody's different. Landry wasn't like that.
Yeah.
He was cool, calm, and collected. But Jimmy brought the energy, and he brought it. But what's interesting, when we were in the Super Bowl the second time, and we were playing again the Bills, we were losing at halftime. Mm-hmm. And he walked in, didn't say a word. Coaches went on and corrected what was wrong. We made adjustments. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the halftime, he comes in and said, okay, let's go win this game. That's all he said. That's all he said. And it was a close game, but that's the thing. And you're right. But the one thing that I noticed, and we'll start with the Houston, Cleveland, is adjustments. Teams.
Yeah.
Regardless if you're up or down, you got to be able to adjust to the situation. What are they doing to us? How are they attacking us? What can we do to prevent these things from happening? Right. And obviously, Cleveland couldn't stop it. I know they were playing with their third quarterback in Flacco, and that was difficult for them. Well, actually, a fourth, right?
Yeah, and another thing too, you go into these games and you say, well, the week before the last game, you already know Cleveland case, they were number 5. So they said, we're going to set out the majority of our starters and get them ready for the next game. And sometimes that don't work either.
Yeah. And and like you said, it's how you prepare yourself. Mm-hmm. And it's obvious D'Amico Ryan did a good job of preparing Houston for the game and getting them in their mental mindset in there. And they, like you said, they were at home.
Yeah, yeah. And when you're at home, you just got to take care of business. You got the edge, you got the fans all pumped up, you got a lot of momentum there. And you've been home all week, you have to travel. Everything should be set in place. Relax, go in with the mindset of, hey, I got to take care of business, no drop balls. In your case, you got to get some sacks, things like that, and then if you're a special team player, that you ought to be fired up, and somebody got to make a big play. The one thing Bill Parcells used to always remind us, it's going to be 5 situations, 5 plays that going to turn the table and turn the momentum of the game.
And that's true.
It could be early. It could be halftime. It could be second half. It could be on special team. It could be in different variations of the game. But when you're talking about making things change the momentum, that's what you look for.
Yeah, and it's situational football. Good evening, Rick. And you're right. Sometimes the less is said is best. But you're right. You remember I coached under Bill, and he did all the situations on Friday.
Yep.
Situations, and he always talked about it. Like you said, 5 to 9 plays are going to determine the game. You can play 60 or 70 or 80,
right?
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it changed the mode. It's a mode swing. It's a momentum change, and you got to ride that wave when it happened.
Yeah, and the one thing I noticed about Houston in that game is they made a lot of plays just by they were excited to play. Cleveland was excited too, and I think that Houston, just like you said, used the advantages of being home. CJ Stroud played out of this world.
Yeah,
he wasn't perfect, but he was perfect for what they needed to do.
He was 16 out of 21, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns, and had a pass rating of 157.2. And that's a perfect game.
Yeah, and I thought that Flacco finally realized that he was Flacco.
You have to give credit to the coaches. I think your coaches have to get you ready too. And D'Amico, man, he
did.
And that defense, you said it last week though. Houston defense is the strength of their team.
Yeah. But here's the thing too, is that today Cleveland fired 3 offensive coaches. First of all, Alex Van Pelt. I know Alex. I played with him in Buffalo. He had 4 quarterbacks to get ready, prepared. Right. Stump Mitchell. He loses.
I saw Stump, yeah.
Yeah, Stump, and he lost his top running back in Chubbs.
Yeah, running back. Yeah.
And then T.C. McCartney, and he was at Colorado with us. Okay. He's the son of Bill the grandson of Bill McCartney.
Okay.
And TC is a good coach, and he's been around. But the interesting thing is the tight end that he coached was probably one of the better players on that team. All of them had issues, but they didn't let it bother them.
Right.
And I think that was interesting that those 3 lost their jobs.
Well, it's the same way with the New Orleans Saints. They fired their offensive coordinator.
Pete Carmichael.
Carmichael. So one of the things that had to happen when teams are on the verge of change and they got to blame somebody for this performance and the low outcome of the offense, the low outcome of the defense, or the linebacker playing bad, whatever the case may be, they're going to make those changes because that's what the head coach has to do to manage how everything going to go, because he's next in line to get fired.
That's true. And somebody got to basically fall on the sword.
They got to blame somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. They do. And then the next game is it was Miami with Kansas City versus Kansas City in Kansas City, another team that Patrick Mahomes had 262 yards.
Yeah.
Isaiah Pacheco had 89 and Rashad Wright had 130.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Rice. Yeah.
Yeah.
From ECMU.
Yeah. And
Kelsey had 7 catches for 71, I think.
huh?
Kelsey hits 7 catches for
Yeah.
71 yards.
Yeah. But the thing is when you look at this game, is that Miami is a speed team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's real difficult in the weather conditions. And I thought it was real difficult from the standpoint is they took away what did them. Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill. He can run with anybody.
Yeah.
But for the majority of them, they struggled within the situation they were put in. That's the thing. When you build teams like that, they're more better weather in teams like Miami, obviously being down in South Florida, or they're in domes.
Yeah.
Where they would be more effective.
What I like about the things that Kansas City did, they got good pressure from the defensive line, and the defensive back challenged the receivers. So it wasn't a whole lot of separation. So you have to throw those tight sparrows in there and timing routes. And Tua couldn't get that because he was trying to position himself because of the pressure from the defensive line.
Yeah, and then just the situation, the wind, and the weather is a thing. And people don't realize that is a factor. That is a factor.
Anytime you're playing in a -degree weather day and football on the football field, it affects everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no easy way to put it. And then another thing that they did show and then they talked about was the type of shoes that these players wear.
Yep.
And so Kansas City were more equipped on what type of shoe to wear.
Because they played in that before. And you're right. Because I remember I used to take the that's when you had the screw-ins, and I take extra long 1-inch screw-ins and 3 of them in my shoes when I was on a bad field, a bad grass field, or we didn't have as much field turf back then. The old days, but.
And I remember the kickers had the screw-ins too.
Yeah, remember that?
And the kicker, they had the screw-ins. So exactly right.
Yeah, so you had to adjust to the weather. Actually, we did that in San Francisco too, because if you remember, Candlestick was notorious for being a bad field.
Being a bad field, they still had the baseball diamond in there.
Yep.
And I remember in '85 we had the playoff game. We had played the Rams. And then we made the playoff, and so we had our first game was against the 49ers out there. And we stayed out there the whole week. But my point is, when you can make those adjustments, but that's where I say the home team could have the advantage there because they know what type of shoes. They can go and get 2 or 3 different kinds of shoes. They've been practicing, they know the situation, they know what area of the field is more conducive to cuts and not no cuts and things like that as well.
Yeah, that is true. And kudos to Houston and my Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. And both of those teams got tough games next week, and we'll talk about them a little later. Dallas against Green Bay was the next game. And kudos to Green Bay. I know you were drafted by Green Bay, and Green Bay outcoached them, outplayed them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. You know, they were prepared from the time they received the kickoff, and I sometimes I think that is one of the key first thing impression for us who get the ball first.
Yeah.
And they just said, if we win this toss, then we're gonna go down and score a touchdown. Yeah. They had made up their mind what they were gonna do. Down situation, and the players was focused. They was actually the offensive line was just tremendously, you have to give them credit. The offensive line was on top of it. And they created lanes and things. So it was a good game plan.
Last year, they fired a coach named George Edwards. George Edwards was the linebacker coach. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. George Edwards could coach linebackers. They were a defense. And they were using Micah, who played hard. I got to give him credit. But they only were playing really through 3 true defensive linemen. So they had to adjust their alignments.
Yep.
And that hurt them because they couldn't play true fronts. And then they're playing safeties as linebackers. Nobody on the we'll get into that, Rick. But
Rick, you something else, Rick.
You are something else.
Come on, Rick.
But what happened is they got exposed. You can't play that stuff. Van der Esch was more important than everybody anticipated because he was a true linebacker.
No doubt, and he's smart. He can read gaps and gap control, and he's always going to be at that position or that spot that he needs to fill.
Exactly. And what happens is that they were getting schemed. I was watching the whole game because obviously me and Juanita were there, and watching the game, I could see the deficiencies in the front and there. Our big thing is that we were going to protect those linebackers. We knew we could make plays, but if they have people on them, then they can't make plays. And you did that with the New York Giants.
Right.
With your front, Leonard Marshall, Jim Burt, George Martin, and all those guys, they protected them. And that's it. And we always thought if we ever got run on, it's because the front didn't do their job.
They didn't do it, gap control or do their job. Exactly.
And I was watching them. There was one specific play. First, they were aligned in I don't know what the alignment was. And they were going to the ball. The guy was in his gap, and he jumps out of his gap. And that was the linebacker's gap. And Aaron Jones, who they've had issues against in the past, he just went to the open gap, which is common sense. And things like that, the little things.
The little things.
What really bothered me was that they didn't adjust. Somebody had to see these things either upstairs or on the field and said, pulled everybody over and said, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we got to do. We have to be disciplined. And it caught up with them because they haven't been disciplined.
But one of the things I was going to ask you, I know, did you ever notice when they come off the field and they have their iPads? Do Dallas ever? They don't ever show Dallas doing that. I mean, they come on offense. You see the quarterback doing it, but on defense, I think that's another thing that was missing. For its communication, I think you have to be on the same page and make sure that you're making these adjustments on the field adjustments.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. We have the chalkboard, and I know they use iPads today, but we took the chalkboard and they would draw it up for us even as a coach. When I saw something that was affecting us, I drew it up so they know. And I said, okay, this is what we got to do. This is how they're doing it. I mean, come on, a 2 tight end set with a tight end off, a receiver in tight, and you can't play that and align to that properly. That should have been seen upstairs and said, okay, we have to have a plan against this. This is how they're attacking us. Everybody's blaming this on Prescott. Prescott did make some mistakes, and I'm not giving him a free pass, but they did score 32 points. They did score 32 points. Well, Green Bay scored 48.
What I would like to say, Green Bay defense did what they're supposed to do. They scored. They got an interception early in the game. Then they got the next interception. They scored a touchdown. Now that right there that's at least a 10 to 14 points swing for their defense.
Yeah.
Whenever the defenses can play up par like that, and the momentum that they had, you got to do something with your offense. You can't keep forcing the ball, looking what you're doing, and be predictable. I've been telling you for the last couple of years, if Dallas don't be so predictable, they can win some games.
Yep. And that's true, Rick, but it's still 32 points.
Yeah. We understand garbage time. We understand this. We also understand that you have to make adjustments on the football field during the game time.
Yeah.
And when you see them doing
that's
something,
what we're saying, Rick, is you do have to make adjustments. And you're right. But here's what bothered me was, first of all, they couldn't stop them defensively, and they couldn't run the ball. And Pollard, God bless his soul, he's doing the best he can.
I told you a long time ago. What did I tell you? What did I say? Yeah. Zeke they gonna miss it. They miss it. They miss his toughness. They miss those 3 to 5, 6 tough yards that he always can get, and he's consistent. And he gonna, he catch the ball well out the backfield, and he's a good blocker. He can help protect Dak a little bit better than any other backs that they had. Little thing like that they missed.
Yeah, and the question I had to ask was, do you let Pollard could be a free agent because they franchised him last year? They can franchise him again. Do you let him come back or try to get him back, or do you move on?
I think in this today market, running backs is so plentiful. One of the things that Detroit have done, they got 2 good young running backs. They got Gibbs that shocked the world. That if you go in and see the skill set and the talent of these young running backs, they can come in and fit what you want to do. Of course, your offensive termination, your offensive schemes of things. So you might always go ahead and just see if you can get somebody that can really go for a lesser price.
Yeah. Good evening, TD.
What's up, TD?
What's the old Jeff for?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
So I was just trying to see if I told TD we had to call in a number 2. I want to have her to call in and see if we can hear her voice on the call-in show.
There we go. Oh my
God. 475-244-2525.
But it hurt TD because she works security at the games.
She was texting me she was crying. She was texting me during the game, and I said, all I can do is just turn my phone down. It was full of tears.
It is, and everybody calling me, texting me, what's going on? What's going on is you're getting your butt beat. That's an old time fashion taking you out behind the shed.
What's up, Coop? Hey, what's up, Taylor?
You got everybody.
Hey, congratulations, Taylor. His son got a football scholarship, I think, at the Arkansas Tech.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Arkansas Tech. Wide receiver.
Congratulations. I thought TD was calling.
Yeah, we need to get her to call.
But
man, but Dallas wasn't. They was out coached too, though. I want to say that
they were. I give Green Bay all the credit.
Yeah,
I give Green Bay all the credit. And Dan Quinn didn't adjust.
But let me say this: all the home teams
won except Dallas.
Yeah, I want you to say that. I want you to say that.
Yeah, I know. All the home teams.
Man, but Jim, you know how hard it is to get some playoff games at home.
Exactly.
Things have to be perfectly right, and Dallas don't have no excuse.
No, they don't. So the question is, what do you do now? Do you let McCarthy? Because a week ago, Prescott, they were talking about MVP, and he did have a good year, and McCartney was the coordinator. Do you let McCartney go and move on, or do you have somebody else? I think, this is just my opinion.
Okay, let me hear it.
That you're going to have to look at your staff from a defensive standpoint. They had some pretty good. Leon Lett is gone. They let him go. George Edwards is in Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
He's coaching their linebackers and guys like that. What can these guys help you? Can they help you get to the next level? Do they know enough football to help you improve? That's what I'm saying. And even on offense, you got to look at your offensive staff. Why is our running backs not running?
What's up, Sneaky Pete?
What's up? Hey,
yo, John, G-Man. That's G-Man in the house right there, baby. Hey, I'm gonna give you my observation.
Huh?
I'm gonna tell you what I think.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm so glad that I got a chance to meet Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn. I met them last year up close.
Yeah, I know.
I met them as men and met them up in person. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think both of them are great coaches.
Yeah.
I just think too that you got to get a good offensive coordinator, and then this is unlike Dan Quayle to have the defense run the way what I saw him play. It was something just was missing, but you sometimes you don't get second chances.
That's
true. I know right now he's interviewing with Atlanta and interviewing with
14, Atlanta,
yeah,
Tennessee, the Chargers and Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, he's on the deck to interview all these teams. Yeah. So I think Dallas should keep Mike. That's in my opinion.
I think, and Sneaky said earlier on the show today, somebody said he's not gone because I know how Jerry operates. He's not going to let him go because that did have a good year.
But you know what though, Jim? Check this out. You know how hard it is to win 12 games, to be 12-5, 3 years in a row. That right there speaks something.
They won the NFC East twice.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, so you can get mad at all the things that's happened. The only thing that I'm just saying, he would never let that happen again. I think he should give him another chance.
I agree with you, but here's the problem that I see. They are every year, the last 3 years, yes, they've been 12-5, but they also are the most penalized team in the NFL. That's undisciplined.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play guys that get penalized.
I think that's a good point. So discipline, penalties, and not being focused. You shouldn't have to do a whole lot of talking to your team when you got a barely a team that just barely made the playoffs.
Yeah, I'll never forget what a coach told me when I was coaching because I was talking about this penalty. He said you're either allowing it or you're teaching it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And they are very penalized. That means that they have undisciplined and nobody's correcting them.
Nobody. You got to be corrected. So that's why I said you got to have certain coaches in place to address that.
Yeah, but we'll get to that a little. We got time for that. I know he's staring. Rick. So I know he's staring. But people think that's a bad thing. But like you said, he's been 12-5 for 3 years.
Yeah.
He's won the NFC East twice.
Right.
That's just
they can't beat the 49ers.
No.
He hadn't beat the 49ers.
And the Packers
now
beat the Packers.
He can't beat the Packers. So now we know two teams that they can't beat. If they play the 49ers and the Packers, and I think they can't beat the Eagles. I really don't. I really think they can't.
No, they always split with the Eagles.
Okay, I want to put that in there. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you now, the Giants gonna be tough next year.
Giants will be better. I picked them as a team that will be better.
And just depending on who Washington gets as a coach, it gonna be that NFC East might be different.
Yeah, but the Giants are gonna be better.
So there ain't gonna be no walk-in for the Cowboys.
No, not for any team. But they play the NFC North. And you know who's in there. Baltimore. They play them at home.
The AFC North?
AFC North.
Okay.
Baltimore.
Cleveland.
Cincinnati. Pittsburgh. And Cincinnati. They play Baltimore and Cincinnati at home, and they play Cleveland and Pittsburgh on the road. Then they play the NFC South for there. They play, obviously, all the NFC South teams. And then they play Green Bay and San Francisco.
So what's really been good about the NFL these previous years is the scheduling. They've really been doing really good with the scheduling. So it's really been good. Man, don't be stalking Phil Sims.
Hey.
Matt talking noise.
Yeah, but Los Angeles and Detroit was the best game of the day.
That was a good game.
And I told you I like golf. I'm not a big Stafford fan, and he did play well.
Stafford, man, he can throw the ball.
And that Puka, shoot, he had 180 yards.
Man, Puka, man, congratulations, Puka.
Yeah,
you set the record as a rookie.
Yeah.
My hats off to you. That's hard to do. You came in and made the Rams and helped the Rams get to the playoffs.
Yeah, he did.
I'm so proud of you.
He did, and he played good. And then Aaron Donald's little brother played good too.
Aaron Donald's little brother did play good.
Yeah.
So and Aaron Donald's little brother got about 10 sacks.
Yeah, and then that's the one that they said that the Rams were still going to be in a rebuilding. You got to give them credit.
Well, remember I told you 2 or 3 weeks ago, I said the most dangerous team going into the playoffs is going to probably be the Rams.
You did say that.
They almost pulled it off.
They almost 1 point. So
1 point, exactly.
1 point. So yeah, 24-23. Stafford did have 367 yards.
We got some football fans.
Yeah.
TD gonna tell me, you see, I told you. You see, I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. I give you credit.
Yeah, she did. She was adamant about the Texans.
Yeah, I got all the notes about who everybody was picking.
Yeah. And here's interesting. Stafford threw 367 yards.
Yeah.
Kyron Williams. He ran for 61, but
he had surgery in his hand today. He had a broken.
He had surgery on his hand, and Puka had 181 yards.
Puka, man, congratulations.
But Detroit, I mean, people say, well, nah, they ain't gonna do nothing. I wouldn't say to sleep on Detroit.
Well, I'm gonna tell you now, Detroit gonna beat Tampa Bay.
You think so?
Oh yeah, they'll beat Tampa Bay next week.
Wow.
But the game gonna be when they go out to San Francisco.
Yeah. Did you know that the reporter, I heard it with my own ears, asked Todd Bowles, what is he going to do about the weather in Detroit? Did you hear that?
I heard that. That reminded me that must be the first report that came out of the North Hemisphere and didn't know nothing about football. It was so cold. It's so cold up north. All she was thinking about was the weather. She said, we're going to get off the bus in 20 seconds. We'll be inside.
Yeah, so he said, they played in the dome for the last 50 years.
He said, hey, he said he didn't try to embarrass her or nothing. He just said, hey.
You see TD, she going with Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay ain't got this. Hey, what's up, Miss Sonia?
All right, Sonia, how are you doing? But Tampa Bay, I don't know. Tampa Bay does some nice stuff. And Baker is playing for some money.
What I love about Tampa Bay is the receivers they got some good receivers. They got some receivers that can go get it.
Godwin,
Evans. Yeah. And those other 2 guys that scored this weekend, they fast.
Yeah.
And their defense, man, their defensive line is tough.
Yeah, they are. Their linebackers are good with Rashad White. Rashad White is the running back.
Yeah. But you're right. Their linebackers.
Yeah, like I tell you, they got a heck of a line. The D-line coach, we worked together at Dallas, and the linebacker coach, we worked together at Dallas. Yeah, I saw that too. Team fans were taken to the hospital with hypothermia.
Yeah, that cold weather don't play. I don't care what nobody says.
It was minus, right?
Oh, yeah. It was minus.
Yeah, it was a minus.
Minus 15 or something like that.
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But CJ is playing with one of his good friends. Yeah. Did you know that he played for Snoop Dogg's team?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he played for Snoop Dogg, and he competed against Bryce Young.
A lot of times when Snoop Dogg was doing a lot of those football tournaments and camps and things, he brought those kids to the Super Bowl. And he had those kids in some of the Super Bowls and really gave those kids the exposure of really painting them a picture of, hey, you can be on this level eventually. And that's, you get the results of some of that as well.
Yeah. I was told, and I didn't realize this, and I looked at the map. Okay. Long Beach is only like 12 miles from Compton. Yeah. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No. Yeah. It's long. And Snoop Dogg would go to Compton and get some of those kids in Long Beach, and they all play together.
What I like about Snoop Dogg, he's really concerned about those kids.
Yeah. He's kind of like Dion.
Yeah.
That's what Dion is.
Yeah.
He's concerned about it, but
yeah.
But that was a good game, Los Angeles. Then the next game, Pittsburgh versus Buffalo.
Buffalo. Snowball City, the Buffalo Mafia.
Yes. Just to remind you, I did play for Buffalo. I got one team left.
I think we all picked Buffalo.
I think we did.
Yeah, I think we all picked Buffalo.
And Mike Tomlin said he's coming back.
Yeah, I saw that.
He did say he was coming back. And Buffalo, let me ask you a question. In your opinion,
okay.
Earlier today, we were talking about this. Did you think Josh Allen faked the slide when he ran that long run at 54?
No, he didn't fake the slide.
I didn't think he's faked.
He didn't fake the slide, but I'm thinking that the defensive backs and safeties had in their mindset where he getting ready to slide. And he just said, I'm going to take off. And that's what he did. Yeah.
You got to remember, Josh Allen's a big man for a quarterback.
240 pounds.
240 pounds.
He can run.
Yeah. And he took off.
And, he was doing that up in Wyoming. He was playing like that in college.
Yeah. And then Diggs had a good game, but I can't remember the name of the other receiver. And their defense is playing well.
Well, the tight ends, Kincaid and both tight ends got touchdowns.
Yes,
for the first 14 points of the game.
And there was another team, Pittsburgh, without T.J. Watts wasn't the same. They had Hightower.
Yeah,
and things like that. And
I think T.J. Watts, if T.J. Watts was able to play, it might have been a little bit tougher.
It probably would have been a little bit tougher
because he's a one-game record. He can single-handed turn the game around.
And there you talk about backs. They got two backs. Najee Harris got better as the season progressed. And then they have the other kid. I can't remember his last name, but they got
number
two
30.
backs.
Yeah.
Number 30, and then they got two good receivers. And the tight end. So they got a chance.
They loaded. I think that's probably why Mike want to come back. I think they close to where they need to get.
Yeah, they are. And Dallas has to go there next year. Like I said, they have to go there.
But you know what? What really just I couldn't figure it out when Pittsburgh lost 2 games in the season back to back. They lost the Cardinals game. And they lost Denver or somebody. They lost 2 games.
They shouldn't have lost to.
They shouldn't have lost those 2 games. And see that right there just. Because they never lose at home. The Terrible Tile, they never lose. I mean,
we beat them at home.
Well, yeah, y'all a little different, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying teams that's 1-11 or 12. Whatever,
I know what you're saying.
What I'm saying, because I'm deep down inside. I love those Pittsburgh because I met a lot of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I go to. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to Franco Harris event, American.
Yeah, I remember you said that.
I'm going this year at the Super Bowl. So I already, so those Terrible Tiles, when those Terrible Tiles get to roll in Heinz Field, I didn't understand how they
travel too. The Steelers travel. That was another thing I was going to tell you at the Cowboys game. There were a lot of Green Bay Packers. I'm like, how did they get all these darn tickets?
But you know what? I'm gonna tell you now. Since in the last 5 years, the fan base down here with the 49ers, the Packers, the Eagles, the Giants, and I'm telling you, they got these groups now down here in Dallas, and it's so much better to see these people when you go to restaurants and things, which is good for football. Really good.
Yeah. Now the last game of the wild card weekend was Philadelphia versus Tampa Bay. We picked Tampa Bay to win that. So
I didn't, but
only one that didn't was TD.
TD thinks she know everything, but
no, she picked Tampa Bay.
I know she did. Yeah, she liked Tampa Bay, but man, I can't believe kind of how the era had been let out of the Eagles. It blows my mind.
Let me ask you this.
Can you explain
I
that to me?
think Sharani, I don't like him, but he is a good coach. He is a quality coach. Do you think changing the defensive coordinator in the middle of the season, and I told you they had so many new coaches, you have to know your culture in your locker room. And then Patricia had problems with Slay in Detroit.
Oh yeah.
So
He didn't respect him in Detroit.
That's right. And he's one of the leaders.
Yeah, he got a C on his jersey.
Yeah. So there you had issues. And I was watching him, and your best pass rusher is the Sweat kid. And you got him dropping in the coverage. And then you got Hassan Riddick, who is a heck of a pass rusher. You're dropping him in the coverage. He's playing New England's defense with 4-3 personnel. You can't do that.
You can't do that. You cannot come in and change the success that you have and make it your own, and then you want to start getting credit for it. That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's why they cut him in Detroit. That's why he had to go back up there and beg Belichick for a job, and that's why they let him go. I'm just saying, and I'm just saying, the track record of him is not that successful, and it was proven again this past 2 or 3 weeks.
Also it proves is you can be really smart, but you not have common sense. And he is really smart. He's a rocket scientist, but he doesn't have common sense.
You don't have to have rocket scientist sense for football for the X's and O's.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. When I learned when coaching, it doesn't matter what I know. It's what that young man knows that's playing for me.
And how he can put it into action when he get on that football field.
That's exactly right. The great coaches can communicate to them what they're trying to accomplish. That's what makes guys like Bill Parcells, Jimmy Johnson, Tom Landry great coaches, because they can teach.
They can teach, and then they know how to make that each individual player get the best of what they bring to the table.
They can maximize their talents.
Exactly.
And he is smart, but also I thought they had the same issue as the Cowboys linebackers. Mm-hmm. Their linebackers really struggled.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it came up, and then we saw the worst tackling that has ever been. I mean, did you see the tackling?
Unbelievable. Bradbury.
Was that bad?
Man, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it seemed like these guys hadn't put on a uniform before, and it should have won the Super Bowl last year with these players that we was out there looking at and seeing this game.
That's right.
Just think about that. How close they was to the Super Bowl.
Yes. To win in the Super Bowl. It's amazing what a year changes. But I did say the hardest thing that I've ever done was win the second Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Everybody you're the big game. You're obviously, when you're a Super Bowl winner, you are marked for every game, and they play their best against you.
That's why you have to appreciate back-to-back Super Bowl winners.
Yes.
You have to appreciate it. It's just a golden rule, and it's a fact. Yeah. It's one of the hardest things to do in football.
It is really hard, trust me, because you just don't do it. Yes, Marv Levy was still there. Marv Levy was still at Buffalo when I was there, Rick. Wade Phillips was the defensive coordinator.
Yeah. Y'all had some good coaches.
Yeah. Okay. Now we can get on to where Rick is waiting for.
What's up, Rick?
This week's game. Houston at Baltimore. I am going with Baltimore. There are some people within Northeast Streaming Service that are questioning Lamar Jackson. This is Lamar Jackson's year.
But let me tell you something.
Will win this game.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
Whenever Lamar Jackson let his hair out, and he's serious today. I saw him on the interview. His hair is out. He reminded me of my afro when I was my afro, right? So they ready. So I salute Houston. I congratulate them. I'm so proud of them. They motivate the city of Houston. They got something to yell and cheer for. CJ and everybody else, Will Anderson.
Oh, the Cowboys played them too. They played Houston too.
So the Ravens is gonna be ready. It's the Raven year. It's the Ravens year. So I'm going with the Ravens as well, Jim.
Yeah.
But I'm happy for Houston.
Yes, I am. Now TD's got to give us her pick.
What's up, TD?
She might have gone.
She like Houston though. I mean she's riding CJ. She was saying CJ is the man. So
yeah, she has. Yeah. So we'll catch up with TD on that. Green Bay versus San Francisco. This is an interesting game, and I'll tell you why. Those head coaches do not like each other.
They know each other.
Oh, Sonya's going with the Texans.
Okay, Sonya. Hey, by the way, Sonya, me and Sonya had a good time last night. I was on a show, and we were talking about flying over to Seattle. So we brought your name up, Jim. So you got to be proud of that.
Over to Seattle, what about it?
No, we were just talking about, when you fly from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Hey, you just said when y'all played San Francisco, y'all spent the week out there.
We had to. Oh, 49ers. Rick said 49ers.
Rick 49ers. I'm telling you what, those coaches, did you see this clips? They don't like each other.
Oh, no, they don't like each other.
LaFleur and
they shouldn't, because they're two of the best coaches in the league.
Yeah.
Jim, why you diss her, Jim? You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Oh, man.
Can't believe that. I'm going with the 49ers.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Sonya, but I had to be with my Juanita, my pretty little Juanita. But you going with the 49ers?
I'm going with the 49ers.
I think the 49ers will win, but I agree. Don't sleep on Green Bay.
I don't think Green. First of all, Green Bay surprised themselves last week. To be honest with you, and ain't no way they're gonna score over 24 points this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you now, Debo and Chris McCaffrey, they're gonna have a field day. I'm gonna be honest with you.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
Wow. Did you know that LaFleur, McDaniels, and Shanahan all work for Dan Quinn?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Dan Quinn hadn't beat any of them.
They must have took all his notes.
Yeah.
He must ain't got no more secrets.
Yep. Oh man. But so I'm gonna go with San Francisco.
Okay, you going with San Francisco. Okay. Who going with Green Bay Packers? Sonya said
I said the 49ers.
I know, but she said don't sleep on the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Green Bay, they gonna be able to celebrate and have a good time this offseason. They going packing. They going fishing next week. I put it like that.
Yeah, maybe, but maybe not. Because if you get hot, you know how it is. Once you get hot in the playoffs, and you can
this is the difference. This is the difference. San Francisco gonna be prepared. They ain't gonna get no touchdown on defense and things like that. That ain't gonna happen 2 weeks in a row. I'm gonna be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But I do have to salute Jordan Love. He had an outstanding game. Didn't turn the ball over.
Rick, he was drafted by the Green Bay Packers.
Rick, I signed 5 NFL contracts. I was the leading receiver in the World League. Played up in Canada. So I got a little stats everywhere. I scored a touchdown everywhere I went. That's how bad I was. I was real fast. I ran a 4.23 40, 10-1 300 meters, Rick. So you better ask somebody. No, but right now I am the leader of the former players in Dallas. Man, I get so much satisfaction just messing with these players down here. It's really fun because I'm in cowboy land, but yet I get to talk noise to them.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But I went with San Francisco. The Sunday games are Tampa Bay at Detroit. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay because I got two of my buddies that coach for Tampa Bay.
Well, good. I'm glad you're on that buddy ride. I'm going with Dan Campbell, the Texas star, the Texas high school star.
Well, hey, so is Baker Mayfield, Lake Travis.
Yeah, well, Baker Mayfield gonna get his butt to up this week. They gonna put a little pressure.
Baker is trying to
Aiden Hutchinson gonna be all over Baker. I'm telling you, that boy gonna have a couple.
Your offensive line is pretty good at Tampa Bay. I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay. Baker is trying to get the keys to the stadium again.
I hear you, Rick. Rick.
Going with Detroit.
Now, Rick, you waking up and you doing the right thing, Rick.
What
happened to TD?
I'm
TD
going
went to sleep. TD done went to sleep or what?
Oh, I guess so.
But okay.
And Jason couldn't be on tonight. He's traveling.
Yes, Jason. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, we do appreciate you, Jason. You know you're our guy and stuff. But I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay because I got my buddies on there, and I text them, and they text me back all the time.
So let me ask you something real quick before you go to the next. How can 9 Pro Bowl players be sitting at home on the same team?
They get beat.
Jim.
They get beat. That's how they sit on. It don't matter how many Pro Bowl players.
Can you imagine almost 11 guys making the Pro Bowl, meaning that they're the best of the best?
And all you doing is sitting home watching the games like this.
So that means the Pro Bowl ain't what it's all made up to be then.
That's what I've been trying to tell you. It is terrible.
Dang.
They're going to be playing touch football. That's what they were playing anyway. Oh.
Hey, we want to say a shout out to Jack.
Yeah.
We definitely want to say a shout out to Jack.
Always send a shout out to Jack.
Yeah.
Jack is down in Florida.
Yeah, he's in Florida. Yeah, he's down there he living a good life.
Yeah. Here's the game that I'm interested in. I can't wait to see this. Is Kansas City at Buffalo. The weather's supposed to be bad again, and we know what Buffalo does.
So let me tell you when I first saw this, I'm saying whoever had the ball last might be the winner of the game, just like it was last year.
You got two good money.
Kansas City had 13 seconds left last year.
Yeah,
and
Buffalo
had that game in hand.
Zach Cook or Pacheco, Isaiah Pacheco.
I don't know. I'm thinking that
that's the two. If the weather's bad, that's the two that is going to determine the game.
Yeah,
but I would say that. But Buffalo was throwing the ball pretty efficient, like you said, with the tight ends and the receivers.
Yeah, I'm thinking whoever had the ball last. It's one of those games that I want to say Buffalo, but then my other side of my face said, "Don't bet against Mahomes."
I'm going with Buffalo, and I'll tell you why. When we won that first Super Bowl in that fourth quarter, I went up to Jesse Cipolla and said, "You guys were the king. We're going to dethrone the king," like Rick said. We're going to dethrone and we dethrone the king.
That's something.
And you got to dethrone the king. I'm going with Buffalo.
You go with Buffalo?
Yes. Now,
they don't won 6 games in a row? They don't won 6 in a row?
Since they got Joe Brady as the OC.
I'm going Kansas City because I'm gonna call Priest Holmes. I'm gonna discuss it with him, but right now I'm saying KC by 1 point.
Okay.
But you know what? Buffalo don't lose at home.
No. This is, and they're gonna be sliding down in that snow with no shirts on and Bills Mafia. They're gonna be breaking tables.
Hey Jim, can I ask you a question?
What's that?
Have you ever been hit with a snowball?
Yes.
How it feel?
It doesn't feel bad. It's with ice in it. I keep telling people when they put ice in it.
I'm so fast. I ain't never been hit with a snowball, so that's why I have to ask. I That's what I wanted to know.
It was in Philly, actually.
You actually got a bump on your head up there, so that's why I wanted to know. I figured that was a snowball hit or something. I don't know. But I tell you what, they better hit the Kansas City Chiefs with them snowballs.
Byron's at it again. You're going to have to take care of him. Thank you, baby.
Hey, but it's gonna be a good game, Jim. But I'm thinking Patrick Mahomes gonna be 1 point better.
Okay, we'll see. They ain't gonna beat him in Buffalo. If it was in Kansas City, which Buffalo did beat them in Kansas City.
They should have anyway.
No, Buffalo didn't win.
13 seconds, Jim.
Yeah, Buffalo
they got
gonna win.
Butt beat last year.
Buffalo, but this ain't last year.
We'll see what happens. I'm going with KC.
You can go with whatever you want. You went with San Francisco over Green Bay.
Green Bay, I'm proud of Green Bay.
Yeah.
Indeed, Green Bay did send me my jersey this year. So
they did?
Oh yeah, I got my jersey hanging up in there.
So when I send you my jersey, well, I'm not gonna send it to you. I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay.
Are you gonna put it next to Lawrence Taylor, or are you gonna put it over there?
I could put it next to Charles Haley jersey. Let's see if I can show you. That's Charles Haley jersey.
Okay. All right. I got to get my jersey.
I can get you next to Tiger. I can get you next to
You
Cole.
don't have to give me next. You can give me that Tiger.
I can give you a Tiger, but that's Randy Moss up there.
Yeah, I can get it.
On this side, Jim. That's your boy.
Ray Aikman. Yeah, there you go. You still there? Oh, he done froze up on us. Oh, I can't believe it. He done knocked himself off. He's showing jersey. He lost his connection. Well, I guess that's the show. I guess Byron is gone. I guess we got a couple more seconds, and I'd never seen this before. Niners are not going to win by 10 or 14, Maurice. I'm sorry to tell you.
Hey, Jim.
There he goes.
This is what I'm telling you. I got to start making more money. I just got to get better equipment. I'm going to have to start charging. I have to make more money. Now I have to go to my cell phone.
Maurice said that 49ers going to win by 10 or 14 points.
Maurice said that?
Yeah. We don't know what went on. You just disappeared.
I did my magic act, disappearing act.
Rick came to Dallas and didn't even tell us. Look at that.
What?
That's messed up, Rick.
You met Charles? Well,
show.
Hey, Rick, next time let me know. I'll put Charles on the phone with you, bro.
Yeah.
We always go support his little football camp. His birthday was last week.
Yeah, it sure was.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So, Jim.
Yes.
Man, did I pick you in the playoffs or not?
Well, no, not really. I think I was 4-2.
Okay.
Because I did pick the Cowboys.
I know.
And it was somebody else I lost on.
You picked the Rams, didn't you?
Yeah, I picked the Rams.
Yep.
Who did you pick?
I ain't gonna talk about it. You know what I should have picked? I should have picked all home teams.
Yeah, you would have won.
And not the Cowboys. I would have been looking good.
Yeah.
But this week gonna be they got the riffraff out of the playoffs. So now you look at
boy, man, that's a lot.
Man, you might as well kick the dog when it's down. So hey, I ain't trying to, hey, yeah, the Cowboys, I don't feel sorry for y'all.
It's time to go. It's time to go. I gotta slither on out of here.
Well, hey, it's the